Fiona didn't walk into that bar looking for trouble. She walked in because she had nowhere else to go. Rain clung to her coat, her shoes squeaked softly against the wooden floor, and for a moment she just stood there, taking in the dim lights, the quiet chatter, the low hum of music. It wasn't her kind of place. Not really. Not anymore. She was broke. Not, I'll be fine tomorrow, bro. Broke. Proper broke. The kind where even sitting at a bar feels like a risk. Still, she took a seat, and that's when everything changed. Rough night? Fiona looked up. Behind the bar stood a man who didn't seem like he belonged there, not because but because he carried something bigger, something sharp, something alive. That man was Richard Gadd. He didn't interrogate her, didn't make her feel small. He just poured a drink and slid it across, on me. That one small act landed deeper than he could ever understand. They talked. Not about anything life-changing, just random things, stories, jokes, bits of life. But he listened, really listened. And for Fiona, that was everything. When she left that night, she didn't realize it yet, but she had just found the center of her world. At first, it was harmless. She thought about him a lot. Then she started going back to the bar, not occasionally, regularly. She learned his shifts, timed her visits, sat in the same spot every time, hoping for more attention, more conversation, more connection. Richard stayed kind, friendly, professional, but never romantic. There was a line, and Fiona could feel it. But instead of stepping back, she moved closer. Then she discovered something that changed everything. Richard wasn't just a bartender, he was a comedian. He performed stand-up, he wrote shows, he had ambition that stretched far beyond that bar. To Fiona, this was an opportunity. Now she had more ways to see him. She started attending his shows, every single one, front row when she could. Her laughter was louder than anyone else's, sharp, constant, almost desperate. She clung to every word like it was meant just for her. At first, Richard appreciated it. Every comedian needs support, but this wasn't just support, this was fixation. Then things escalated. Fiona didn't just watch anymore, she followed. She learned his routines, what time he left, where he went, who he spoke to. She began appearing in places she shouldn't be, at times that didn't make sense. Coincidence turned into pattern. Pattern turned into obsession. Then came the messages. At first, just a few, then dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Emails flooded in, tens of thousands of them, over 41,000 emails. Tweets, hundreds. Voicemails, so many they stacked into over 150 hours of audio. Letters, packages, notes, some emotional, some strange, some disturbingly intimate. One message stood out, repeated in different forms. My curtains need hung badly. It wasn't just communication anymore. It was relentless. Richard's life began to shrink under the pressure. He tried ignoring it, then avoiding it, then confronting it. But nothing worked. Fiona expanded into every part of his life. She contacted his friends, then his family. She called his parents. She inserted herself into spaces she had no place being. Then Richard met someone. A normal relationship. Something healthy. For a moment it looked like things might balance out, but Fiona found out, and she couldn't accept it. The harassment shifted. It wasn't just about Richard anymore. It became about control. She targeted his girlfriend, messages, pressure, interference, not direct violence, something worse. Persistence, unrelenting, suffocating persistence, until eventually the relationship broke. This went on for years, 3, maybe 4. Years of tension, years of fear, years of feeling like someone else had a key to your life. Eventually, Richard went to the police, but even then, he wasn't taken seriously. A man being stalked by a woman didn't trigger urgency. It sounded unlikely to them. Harmless, even, until it wasn't. After pushing hard enough, he finally secured a legal warning against her, a formal notice that if she continued, she could be arrested. And just like that, she disappeared. Silence returned, but the damage didn't disappear with her. Richard did what he knew best. He turned it into story. First came a stage show. Monkey See, Monkey Do It was raw, personal, focused on trauma from earlier in his life. Then came another show, darker, more specific, about the stalking. He called it Baby Reindeer, named after something Fiona used to call him. The show debuted at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, and it hit hard. Audiences didn't just watch, they felt it. It won awards, it sold out, it moved to London's Soho Theatre, where it continued to dominate. Then it toured across the UK and Europe. What started as a personal story was becoming something much bigger. And then came the turning point. Netflix stepped in. They saw the potential, not just for a show, but for something unforgettable. The story became a full drama series, also called Baby Reindeer. But this wasn't a typical adaptation. Richard didn't just write it, he starred in it as himself, reliving everything, every uncomfortable moment, every fear, every memory. The series blended both of his shows into one narrative, his past trauma and the stalking, creating something intense, emotional, and deeply unsettling. It wasn't just entertainment, it felt real, because it was. And as you're watching this story unfold piece by piece, moment by moment, if you're finding it gripping so far, consider supporting the channel by liking and subscribing, and feel free to share where you're watching from. Now let's continue. When it released, it exploded. Number one in over 30 countries, millions watching, millions reacting. But success brought something else, curiosity. Viewers didn't just want the story, they wanted the truth. Who was the real stalker? Who was Martha from the show? The internet got to work, digging through old tweets, old interactions, patterns, clues, and within hours, they found someone. Fiona Harvey, old tweets matched, messages matched, even specific phrases from the show appeared in her past posts. The internet decided, this is her. Suddenly, Fiona was back in the spotlight, but this time, global. People flooded her accounts, messages, accusations, questions. She had a choice, disappear again or step forward. She stepped forward publicly. She confirmed the story was about her, but denied the way it was told. She claimed she didn't stalk him. They barely knew each other. He was the one interested in her. She even went on TV with Piers Morgan to defend herself. Two completely different versions of reality now existed, and both were being watched by millions. Then came the biggest twist of all. Fiona filed a lawsuit against Richard, against Netflix. Her claims? Defamation, negligence, damage to her reputation. Her demand? $170 million. Think about that. The same woman who once couldn't afford a drink in a bar, now standing in a legal battle that could make her unbelievably rich. Netflix responded firmly. They stood by the show. They stood by Richard. No apologies, no retreat. And now the story isn't just about obsession anymore. It's about truth, memory, power, and who gets to tell a story when millions are listening. Because what started with one quiet night in a bar has become something much bigger, a global hit, a public controversy, a courtroom battle. Two people, two completely different stories, and one question that still hasn't been answered. What really happened between them?